Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for just taking some time to come together and discuss all of these wonderful things that we're doing for our students. Before I get too deep into it, I want to quickly introduce our principal, Dr. Kendrick Myers. Yeah, he's right. He's on a deadline. But he is here to support me. So what I want to talk about is how we intertwine civic engagement with curriculum. Uh, so anytime we start talking about plans or what we want to do with teachers, I think it's really important to start with what is your mission and what is your vision, because those are your those are the things that point you in the direction that you need to go, and all of your work, of course, is going to be tied back to your mission and vision. So our mission is to educate, if Drew Charter School educates, nurtures, and empowers all students to achieve their full potential as a part of an exemplary, innovative, and equity-centered community. And our vision, Drew Charter School students will possess the knowledge, skills, passion, and intellectual inquiry to successfully navigate and create positive change in the world. And so what I would do with teachers when we're developing PBL projects, I'm going to tie it right back. And so our civic engagement work is about being innovative, being equity-centered, and creating positive change in our world, and also navigating a fairly complex system. And we do that through project-based learning. And if you're not familiar with project-based learning, it is different than the diorama that you maybe made in 5th grade. It is not learning and then doing a project. It is doing the project, and that is how you learn. You learn by doing. Through these projects, students learn the skills to be active, informed citizens that can make a difference. And I'm a history teacher, so I have to mention that that was initially the reason for public school, and the reasoning behind arguing for public school way back in the days. We wanted an informed citizenry. When we are developing projects, we want to make sure that they are addressing real world concerns, that their kids are not creating something that's going to end up in the trash when they get home, that it's an actual problem that's got stakeholders involved and opportunities for feedback. And we also want our students to learn in ways that replicate how the real world functions, because my day-to-day, it does not separate my math from my English, from my science. It's all woven together. And so we do that through STEAM. Drew Charter is the first K-12 school to receive STEAM certification for all of its grade levels. And STEAM is, if you're familiar with STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, they threw in the A, and it's the human part to me. That's kind of how I explained it. It's the truth and the beauty and the art that our world is able to create because of some of the innovations. And so we create PBL projects that incorporate these elements. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how that applies with the Civic Engagement Project. When I first met Deetria and discussed with her my passion for voting and for voting rights and access, it got my brain turning this summer. And so I thought about and have been working with this team to develop a STEAM-E PBL, so our dedication to this real world learning. And it starts with a question. And our question is, how can we use data to break barriers to civic engagement? And so an example of that, oops, let me go. Where is my, there it is. All right, so here's an example of how we are collecting and using data to break barriers. So vote writers, I'm going to be giving you guys a call very soon because we have some students that need IDs and we need to support them along that way. But this partnership with the John Lewis Foundation and with Mike St. Louis and Neil has provided the connections needed for us to really focus our civic engagement work. So let me go back to, so previously we had very, very strong voter registration drives, and we had last year 71% of our eligible students were registered to vote by graduation. We've had some key partnerships with the Omegas, with NAACP. WABE came out and has done a couple of things with us, which has been very helpful. But sometimes it felt like they were all kind of separate pieces. And so we're starting to streamline this work so that not only are we thinking about PBL, but in a minute I'm going to talk about the full continuum. So this school year, this is where we are. We are expanding our PBL to be a civic engagement project that is driven by data. So one of our math teachers is starting. She's got the voter data file, and their first activity with it is going to be, how can this data be used for good? How can this data be used to create additional barriers for people to voting? They're going to create targeted marketing. They're going to do all kinds of really great things. And it is the collaboration with Deetria and with Dr. St. Louis that has opened up a lot of doors for us to really dig into some of these questions, and we're so appreciative of that. So students will analyze, interpret, and apply data to explore how data can be used to expand or restrict civic participation and develop targeted solutions based on data analysis. So while the kids are doing all that, the other thing that we are doing is leveraging Georgia law. Dr. St. Louis let me know in our first meeting that each high school principal is a designated registrar as per this Georgia code. They can name a deputy to take on that role and responsibility in their place. Dr. Myers was very kind to let me take this on because he knows that voting is just a passion project for me. This is where we're going. We are looking to create an integrated curriculum for grades K-12 that seamlessly combines math and civics at each grade level, from kindergarten all the way up through 12th grade, so that when our kids graduate, they are not just ready for civic participation, they are civic statesmen. We're going to continue to develop our inquiry-driven approach where students actively identify community needs, use data to develop platforms and to develop an app that will assist in eliminating some of these needs. We are also, one of the things that's, I think, really important, and I think somebody mentioned it earlier, not only do we want our kids to know about civic participation, but they need to engage in those things that they can do, even though they might not yet be old enough to vote. I might not yet be old enough to vote, but it doesn't mean that I can't go to the legislature and advocate for policy that affects my community. Those are experiences that can and will be integrated into our curriculum. Now, we're particularly lucky because we have an alumni coordinator that works with us, and this coordinator is going to help us reach into our alumni network and ensure that all of the alumni have the information, they have all the tools that they need, and maybe if they need access to vote writers, provide them with all of the same things that we're giving our kids so that they can vote. Particular students too who are like out of state at school, for example? How do they navigate the voting process? All right, so there is another meeting that I have to attend here shortly, but I wanted to go ahead and put my contact information up on the screen. I did an AI headshot for the first time. It did pretty good, I think. Not bad. So please feel free to scan that. Of course, the information and the presentation will be shared. And the last thing I want to share before passing it on is kind of the nuts and bolts of what our project looks like. So utilizing the design process, we identify standards across engineering. See, here's our math. We've got the data collection methods, descriptive statistics, probability, inferential statistics. Now, remember when I told you at the beginning that I'm a history person and I'm not a math person? So all of these things are, I can't wait to see how this turns out. But we also break it down into what we want students to know, understand, and be able to do as a result of participating in this project. Granular planning, backwards planning, and integrating standards allows us to meet the needs of the goals and the requirements of the state, and also create something new and innovative.